Is this racism or pure anger?
I think she said something along the lines of, you don't have any education, you're badly educated. Difficult for us here, so we're just...
Tennis star Yelena Ostapenko was forced to deny being racist after she told her black opponent Taylor Townsend she has no education and no class in an extraordinary rant at the US Open.
Hey family, it is Sumi here again. I hope you guys had a beautiful day today. So without even wasting time, let's get direct into it. I came across a bunch of clips from different creators who are literally crashing out because of what happened during the this Tennessee match. It is literally all about this, the black lady Tyler. When she won, this white lady, this palm-colored lady, she couldn't control her emotions. She was literally pissed. Yes, so she ended up using racist words. Should I even call them racist words, or she was just reflecting her insecurities onto this to Tyler, the black player, because she was like, you are not even you're not educated, and let us see what will happen when we are out of here. Now, I don't understand why she had to make that statement. Is it because she was so mad that the black lady had to win and she didn't expect her to win? I don't know. So guys, let us first watch these clips together, and I'm going to come back and talk and say something at the end.
So let's break this all the way down. So Taylor Townsend just beat Yelena Ostapenko in straight sets at the US Open yesterday. And instead of shaking hands like a professional, Ostapenko walks up and says, you have no class, no education. Let's see what happens when we play outside the United States. So while she's saying this, she's literally pointing at Taylor's face and jabbing her finger down toward her like she's trying to shrink her, put her in her place. That's not just disrespect, it's intimidation. It's visual domination. And when it's done to a black woman on a world stage, it's not just personal, it's political. Telling a black woman she has no education is not random. That's a dog whistle. It's the same rhetoric that's been weaponized for centuries to strip black women of our intellect, our value, our place. And it's always used when we win, when we disrupt the narrative, when we dare to take up space. And no class, another tired line meant to shame us when we don't smile and shrink. Townsend didn't gloat. She didn't disrespect anyone. She won. And suddenly that's a problem. So then when she says, let's see what happens when we play outside the United States, what are you really saying? That she only wins because of some imagined home court advantage? Or is it a warning that outside the United States, a black woman like Townsend will get put back in her place? That's not a tennis critique. That's racialized language. That's veiled aggression. And in that moment, pointing in her face, speaking down to her, dripping with entitlement, it wasn't just about losing a match. It was about punishing a black woman for daring to be excellent in a space that wasn't built for her. And through all of that, Townsend stood tall and said, I'll let my racket talk. That is grace. That's composure. That is what real class looks like. Now, I want to see that same professionalism from the United States Tennis Association and the US Open leadership. Ostapenko should be fined. There needs to be disciplinary action, because when black athletes are met with hostility, verbal or physical, and nothing is done, the message is clear. You're going to protect the game, but not the people in it. If the roles were reversed, if this behavior had been directed at a white player, it wouldn't even be up for debate. It would be action, immediate and loud. Racism in sports doesn't always show up in slurs. Sometimes it's in the tone, the words, the body language, the finger in the face, the need to diminish and dominate. And if the tennis world stays silent now, you're telling black athletes exactly where you stand.
Let me be brutally honest about the Townsend-Ostapenko circus at the US Open. This is exactly what happens in American media when they consistently portray one group as the victim. While Ostapenko is notorious for having one of the worst attitudes in women's tennis, in this case she was absolutely in the right. Just imagine if Serena Williams had made the same statement as Ostapenko. She would have been celebrated as a legend for speaking her mind. To me, this reeks of American hypocrisy. At least Townsend's next opponent, Mira Andreeva, has the opportunity to put an end to this manufactured American media circus.
This message is for Jelena Ostapenko. How you gonna say Taylor Townsend ain't educated when she literally just schooled you? The disrespect that Taylor Townsend experiences is a tale as old as time. There are white people that are shocked that Jelena Ostapenko behaved like that. And there are black women who were like, that's a Tuesday. White women are like that all the time. They're not just like that when you catch them on camera. They're like that all the time. They cannot handle not being better, even when they actually are not better. You saw how she was like, it's because you're uneducated. What in the fuck does her education level have to do with the fact that she whooped your ass on that field? What does that have to do with anything? On the court, you got schooled. That was all the education she needed. You got to see what her education was like. And the crazy part is, Taylor Townsend was so just well kept together. I don't have that skill. You're not about to yell at me in any fucking capacity, but you about to yell at me after I beat your ass. I am liable to full on fucking laugh. I will laugh till you cry. But to hold it together like that, Taylor, you got skill. You got more skills than Jelena will ever have, okay? She could never hold a candle at all to what you got going. But white women, yeah, that's what y'all look like. That is what y'all look like. Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing to take away from the Taylor Townsend and Ostapenko, yeah, I'm calling her Ostapenko, back and forth at the end of the US Open match, is that as black women, we just need to continue to show up as our best selves, show up as our most fabulous selves, show up as our most fierce selves. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a white woman in the corner somewhere that's mad. And in this case, it's Ostapenko. Trying to talk about her lack of education and lack of class. First of all, what's education or class got to do with the fact that she whooped your ass in this tennis match? Number one. And number two, if she lacks both of those things, how have both of you ended up in the same competition? Both as professional tennis players. Because if you are better than her, which is what Ostapenko was trying to imply, let's be very real. There were a lot of racial undertones to what she was saying to Taylor. She will admit it, and that's fine. I'm going to admit it for her, okay? There were racial undertones. If you're better than her, how is it that we both made it to the same competition and she still whooped your ass? How is that possible? And then she went as far as trying to call out, you know, some of the rules that she had broken during the match. Again, the last time I checked, you are a tennis player, not an umpire. If the umpire hadn't called out Taylor, what more was there to say? It's not your job to call anything out. Let the umpire do their job and you just try and win games. How about that? But with black women, just do you, because there's always going to be a white woman that's mad. And it's very sad, to be honest, but they're going to stay mad, and too bad.
Congratulations, Arina Sabalenka. The heat is finally off you, girl. You can sleep easy now because, man, I love the US Open because even though the time zones are very challenging, I wake up every morning with no idea what I missed. I mean, it could be anything from an upset to, you know, any kind of crash out, but nothing prepared me for today's crash out or last night's crash out, depending on where you are in the world. Because my word, Jelena Ostapenko, I don't know what's wrong with you, girl. Like, you need to calm down. And you know what? I'm not really a fan of either Jelena Ostapenko or Taylor Townsend, but I was really glad to see how Taylor kept her cool and kind of just let Jelena have this whole crash out from losing. There's a few things that Jelena addressed. Okay, so number one, the warm-up. I scoured the internet for anything around warm-ups and the order in which they're meant to warm up different shots. I didn't find anything. I'm happy to be corrected on this, but all I found was that warm-ups are usually 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the tournament, etc. But it's more based on time and the fact that it's not a practice. You're meant to hit the ball directly to your opponent, and that's it. And the assumption is you definitely warmed up before getting onto the court, so it's really just to get used to the feel of the court. Secondly, Yelena also talked about how Taylor Townsend didn't apologize when the ball hit the net cord and then went over. That is not a rule. That is etiquette, and a lot of players don't do it because honestly, I think it's kind of disingenuous when they do that because they're not sorry. They won the point, and that's the objective of the game. So, as much as yes, it is etiquette and whatever, I don't think anyone should kind of be particularly mad if a player doesn't apologize because it is what it is. The point is to get the ball over the net. Now, in terms of the post-match crash out after the handshake, calling Taylor Townsend uneducated, it's a weird direction to go in when you're having an argument with another tennis player because I'm assuming they all kind of have the same level of education at that point, which is like high school, okay? And it's interesting because Taylor actually handled herself really well in the press conference where she was like, I don't know if what she said was racially charged. You're going to have to ask her. And she was talking about how proud she was, the way she handled herself, and how she let the tennis racket do all the talking, and how she thought about how her son would react if he saw this later in his life. And I think that's really powerful and really classy of her to have that stance and not to kind of steer into what the press was saying and how they wanted her to come onto a public forum and say Yelena Ostapenko is a racist.
Guys, the tea. Basically, in tennis, when a netball changes a match, players say sorry. Townsend didn't. Ostapenko snapped. But was it about etiquette or about losing?
So at this point, if I'm to really think about the statement, you have no class, you are not educated, and let us see what will happen when you're out of here. First and foremost, this palm-colored lady telling this style black lady that you don't have education. I don't even know how she got to know that this Tyler is not educated and she has no class. And in my heart, I'm like, if she has no class and she's not educated, would she even be out there playing that Tennessee? That is all education. That is the problem. Okay? And maybe actually her even saying those words, she is the one who is not educated. She is literally putting her insecurities onto this black lady because she thinks all black women are not educated. She's trying to literally put her racism, her racist character onto, she couldn't literally hide it. She couldn't hide it. And she's talking about, oh, let us see what will happen outside of here. What will happen? It is literally, she's showing it that deep inside her thinks that all black women, all black people, when they are out there, they are suffering. That is the mentality that she has in her head. Because she's like, let us see what will happen when you're out of here. What will happen? She is delusional. She thinks all black people, when they're out there, they are suffering. You see that mentality, guys? So at this point, I don't know why some people don't understand that if something is bad, it is really bad. Because among the clips that we have just watched, there is one that was created by, I think, a palm-colored lady, and she was like, I don't know why a certain group of people make themselves as a victim, because imagine if it was somebody else who said it, why are they making it a big deal because the person just had to say their mind? Like for real? Like for real, with all the audacity saying all that. They literally can't see how their own race had to react when the black woman won. So every time they expect, the palm-colored people just expect themselves to be the ones winning. When a black person has to win, then it's a problem. then, oh, black people are just, And by the way, I just liked the way Tyler had to handle all this situation, because this palm-colored lady insulted her, but she took it easy. She was like, girl, even if you're pissed, even if you say all those words, I really don't mind, because after all, I have won you. And this is going to remain in record that I won you. And yes, this is how you reacted. So yes, it remains that the black woman has won and she lost. And I don't even understand how the education comes in sports. It's a talent. It is a skill. And she failed it. So, guys, I don't know what you think about this episode. I think let me stop here. I'm not really good at sports. I'm not so good at sports. But I think if it's something bad, an act that is being bad, obviously anybody can see that. So let me stop.